Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Beyond the Gates, Season 2, Episode 29. Before we begin, make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. So, we start the episode off with Leslie coming to visit Joey, and he's already annoyed because he's just like, girl, we don't we don't have no dealings with each other. Like I already told you. And he's just like, I don't remember seeing a meeting on the books. Why are you here? So she was just like, just being an annoyance, like, girl. So he's just, she wants to know about Marcel. And he's just like, I don't know about Marcel. I don't know nothing about no cops. Like, my line of work don't don't commingle with him. Like, why are you asking me about him? So she wants to know about his love life and how his ex-wife is, what she looks like, and all this other stuff. And it's just like, girl, they need to redo her because she is like, every time I see her on my screen, I just roll my eyes. And it's just like, I need a break from her, like a couple months break, because just annoyance. So she's flirting with him at the same time trying to get info on Marcel, and he's just like, honestly, like annoyed beyond annoyed. And like, child, when I tell you, I be so annoyed with her scenes. So so there, she flirting with him again or whatever. Vanessa comes in and she's just like, what's up? Like, what are we doing here? And Joey's just like, yeah, y'all can handle that. So Vanessa pulls up on her like, what does this have to do with the clinic? Because if it don't have anything to do with the clinic, then why are you here? And Leslie was just like, I already told you I only deal with Joey. And Vanessa said, if you deal with Joey, you dealing with me. So what's up? Like, what is it? And so they make, jabs at each other, because she's just like, Vanessa's basically like, you want to be with somebody, you want to be with a taken man. And Leslie calls her insecure, um because she wants to be with him and all this other stuff. And so Leslie leaves and Joey comes back in, and he's all excited. He likes her jealous side or whatever. They talk about what they're going to do for Valentine's, and she's just like, I want to stay in, I have plans for us and whatever. So they make plans for what they're going to do for Valentine's. We saw Nicole at the club with at the country club with Vanessa, and they're talking. Nicole is telling her, because Vanessa wants to know about her Valentine's plans, and Nicole is telling her about, her tryst, and how she thinks Carlton is mad at her at this moment because he saw her with Kyle. She tells Vanessa that she slept with Kyle, and Vanessa's just like, all right, girl, you go, girl. And Nicole is just like, do you think I'm a hoe? And she was just like, girl, please, I could never call you a hoe because you saw me. And yes, we did see you, Vanessa. So Nicole, was talking about, she talks about she talks about Kat's disapproval of her new ways, and she feels bad about you know she feels bad about, being with two men or whatever. And Vanessa, talks her down and is just like, girl, it ain't got to be just one. You could do, or two, you could do three, four, five, whatever, do however many you want until you find out which one you want. And it's just like, yeah, Nicole don't need to be doing all of that. But yeah, she don't need to do all of that. Let her stick with the two that she got right now. She don't need to add another to her roster. Sleeping wise, if she wants to add another person that she talking to, I'm fine with that. But she don't need to be sleeping with all three people. But whatever. So Nicole then apologizes to Vanessa for, being judgmental about her relationship with Joey or whatever. And Vanessa's just like, girl, we cool. We cool. So we see Carlton. He's at the hospital, and he is, he in his feelings or whatever. So he's going off on Shanice about some stuff. And like, Shanice is just like, she trying to talk to him or whatever, but he is real life tripping. So he snaps at her, and Ted walks up, and Ted is just like, my man, what is we doing? And Carlton was just like, oh, so you think you can do this because you, and Ted was just like, before you finish that sentence, bring that ass over here, because what is we doing right now? So he takes him to the corner, and he was just like, if you not in, like, if you feeling some type of way or whatever you feeling, if you can't do the work, I got you. But don't come up into the work and be acting a plumb fool. And Carlton, it was just like, I know how to do my work, and basically leave me the hell alone. He says, he like low-key says sorry, but not really. And he's just like, he's just in his feelings about Nicole, but they don't want to talk about it, because again, that's her ex-husband. So Carlton walks off, and what's it called? Shanice and Ted, Ted's trying to talk to Shanice, and she's just like not really paying him no mind. But then he finally gets her to go with him to his office. So they go to his office, and they talk, and he apologizes. He tells her he confronted Leslie or whatever. And in this scene, I would have, because if I'm not mistaken, because if I'm not mistaken, because Ted tells her that he confronted Leslie, and Shanice asked, what did Leslie say? And he was just like, it's not important. If I was Shanice, because if I'm not mistaken, on that episode that he confronted Leslie ran her happy ass on over to Shanice and gloated in her face about knowing um, that they didn't get to finish their date because of what Leslie did. If I was Shanice, I would have brought that up, and it would have been like, yeah, well, Leslie came to see me to gloat in my face that that you told her that we didn't finish our date. Like, I would have said something. I don't understand why she didn't, because again, y'all are letting Leslie run around unchecked by all of y'all, because sir, you barely checked her because she laughed in your face after the fact. But I digress. So Shanice is telling him, like, that wasn't even my main issue. And it was just like, girl, that wasn't. That would have been my main issue. Actually, both of the issues that you brought up would have been a main issue, which is why at this point, I don't understand why you still talking to this man, but whatever. It's a soap. We need couples. So she's telling him, that's not the main issue. The main issue is you, you seeing Nicole on a date and you not being okay with it or whatever. And he was just like, it's not that I'm not okay with it. And she was just like, no, you weren't. And I told myself that I would never be second fiddle. Like, I was, I dated a guy in college, and he promised me that he was over his ex, but every time we would run into his ex, he would always be like just staring at her and all this other stuff. And it's just like, girl, this man is a freshly divorced man. He's not over his ex. If he had his way, he would still be married to her. So again, you dating him for what? But they make up, and they make up or whatever. And let me see. Yeah, they make up or whatever. And they are about ready to kiss, and he gets a knock at the door, and it's Nicole. So Shanice goes back to work, and she runs into Carlton again, and she checks him and was just like, I don't care what's going on in your personal life, you don't bring that ish to work, period. And I was just like, thank you, because that needed to be said. Nicole is talking to Ted, and she's basically telling him, what I do and how I do it moving on is none of your concern, none of your business, and you ain't got no you don't have no say so in it. So please don't ever come try to check me again. And he was just like, I'm sorry, that won't happen again. Whoop de doo. We see Bill is at home, not home, he's at the hotel, and he done got a spread for Hayley to eat, and she's, all excited because again he's paying attention to her. He's telling her that he wishes he could stay, but he has to go to work because he has a deposition that he has to complete, and he's going to send Caroline over. And she was just like, no, you don't need to, because I know if you're busy, Caroline's busy, I'm gonna be okay. He tells her, all right, well, check with me every hour on the hour, basically. So we see Caroline and Tomas, they're at work, and they get the message from Bill, and Tomas is, he's not understanding what the message is about. And Caroline is basically telling him like Bill is pissed and we about to get in trouble. So Bill comes and they say they're sorry for about what happened to Hayley, and if he needs any of them, they're there for him or whatever. So Bill is just like fine. He's like, real like strict or whatever, like curt, whatever you want to say it. He is asking why Tomas did something when he should have did something. Um Something like that. I don't even know. But so he, once he gets all of the formalities out the way, they ask like what happened to Hayley. And so he's just like, she went to go deliver papers to for the company to Lynette. And Tomas is just like, well, why would she be delivering? He was just like, why would they be together? Because he was just like, oh, she was with, she got robbed. And if it wasn't for Lynette, and Tomas is just like, Lynette, why? It's like, why were they together? And that's when Bill was just like, she went to go and give the papers or whatever, give the papers. And then he tells Caroline, I don't care how much Hayley wants to do. She's not an errand girl. So don't be having her run no errands for the company. So he leaves to go and do something, I think do the deposition or whatever. And so Caroline turns to Tomas and was just like, why would you have her do that? And Tomas is just like, I didn't have her do nothing. I had all of that stuff ready for the courier and I thought you scheduled it. And then Caroline's just like, so we got our wires crossed. So then why would Hayley do it? Like, oh my goodness. And Tomas is just like, yeah, why would she do it? And so she tries to flip it on him again, like, well, oh, you're worried about, you're worried about your about getting paid because it's done the case is now pro bono. And he was just like, remember that time we had this one client that only took to Hayley, but Hayley like would only do things by the book. Why is she now all of a sudden doing stuff outside of the book? Is it because, and Caroline was like, well, that was before she became Mrs. Hamilton and something, something, something. And he was just like, so now that she's Mrs. Hamilton, she's gonna do things outside of the book. Like, does that make sense? And of course, Caroline is trying to take up for Hayley or whatever. And she was just like, we all see Bill circling back to Bill circling back to Danny, and not Caroline, but Hayley doesn't have any friends, and maybe she just had she built a rapport and this is like a new friend or whatever. And he's just like, Tomas is just like, he's like, things that make you go, he's actually thinking, as opposed to these two dummies. So she says, what did she say? I think she said what did she say? Oh no, he said, he talks about her, about her getting, he talks about her getting the car doing little to no work, and then she talks about him getting a promotion doing little to no work because someone else deserved it. And then he's just like, okay, well, we coming at each other, let's not do that. um well, it is what it is at this point. Moving forward, this is how we're going to do it. So they go back to work. So we see Hayley, she's at home, and she invited Randy over. um she invites Randy over to, tell him what's going on, what the plan is, and he sees that she got, punched or whatever, and he clocks it right away, like, oh, you did this because Bill wasn't paying attention to you. And she's just like, yeah, give me an award. I was putting on my Viola Davis. Hayley did with this switch up, this code switch be killing me. It really do be killing me. So he's just like, well, who did? He was just like, I know you didn't do this by yourself. And he was just like, girl, is you stupid or is you stupid? Why are you trusting this girl? Like, girl, what is wrong with you? So then she tells him like, oh yeah, Bill ended up he went to visit the doctor before we thought, and his blood panels was showing something different. So I can't poison him no more. And he was just like, see, that's what you get for being impatient. If you wasn't impatient, this wouldn't be like this. And at this point, that's your 10 mil out the drain, because you got Lynette out here punching you, and you really think that Bill is just gonna forget about the person who punched his wife. Okay, good luck with that. So he leaves, and Lynette shows up, and Lynette is just like, girl, we did that, talking about that. And Hayley is just like, well, where's my ring? And she was just like, oh, your ring is safe, but you ain't getting it back, because if you got it back, that would that would put a monkey wrench in our plan, because what you look like having your ring back after you said it was stolen. And it's just like, exactly, Hayley, what are we okay, girl? Why would you ask for it back when you told the cops that it was stolen? Like, you committing fraud right now, but it is what it is at this point. So Hayley's trying to, she's asking for more, and Hayley is just like, girl, I can't do much for you. I can't. She's just like, yeah, I want you to get my case thrown out. And Hayley was just like, girl, do I look like Houdini? What you thought this was? And she was just like, well, get to working on your husband so he can get my case thrown out. And it's just like, Lynette, girl, you really think your case is gonna be thrown out? Like, girl, are we okay? Like, what? I guess. So, so again, she's just like, trying to get her to get that case thrown out. And Hayley was just like, I can only do so much. And she was just like, well, get to working, or I'm about to get talking. And Hayley was about to get in that, getting her ass, and then Bill walks in, and he's just like, well, what are you doing here? And that's how the episode ends. So this was another cute little episode. Not a lot happened, but enough did. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications so you'll know whenever I post. Get down in the comments, tell me what you guys thought of this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one.